What's up guys, my name is Josh and today we're going to be talking about the VERUM ones. I have the wood and gold version as well as the carbon and silver version here. Now before we get in any further into this video, there's a couple things we got to talk about. What's basically happened in the development of these two headphones is that this wood version got shipped to me by a viewer of the show named Jacob. Thank you very much, Jacob. I do appreciate you sending it in. It worked pretty fine up until literally today. And then today, there was on the right ear side, there was kind of a little bit of a pop, not anything crazy. And then this massive channel imbalance. I would say, you know, if I had to put a number on it, the right ear was playing 5% of volume and the left ear was playing just fine like normal. Whatever, I let it sit for a couple minutes. I plugged in a different cable, same thing. I plugged into a different output out of my amplifier, same thing. And then it kind of came back all of a sudden. So the right ear popped back into kind of playing at relatively normal volumes. I put foobar in mono and it's playing about 95%. There's still a pretty significant and noticeable channel imbalance. What would normally happen with that is I would either send it back to the company if the company sent it to me and say, hey, there's a problem with this product, you know, check it out. I'm willing to chalk it up to, you know, just bad luck. Or if it's with an individual, I say, hey, hopefully this is still under warranty, but there's a channel imbalance. You should probably get that checked out. Now that has actually always been my plan. But out of all the headphones that I've had shipped here, I've never had a headphone arrive broken or damaged or not working. Not once. I've had one amp arrive like that, and I've had one DAC arrive working, and then they both stopped working within like a day or two. Now, I was actually doing the final listen for this headphone when this happened, right before I was supposed to sit down here and talk about this headphone like a normal review. Now, the reason why I'm actually making this video and not just waiting and not sending it back to the owner is because a friend of the show actually dropped off the carbon version. Thank you, Israel. And his was shipped to him, and he bought this and he had to wait the waiting period for it, and they shipped it to him, and it arrived with a really, really strong imbalance. So with one headphone, I'm kind of willing to chalk that up to bad luck and just say, look, like every product line is going to have its bad apples, but two of them, you know, I may be really, really unlucky, but you know, at that point you kind of got to talk about it. So I emailed the owner this morning, got back to me real quick about it. Jacob, you were really cool about it. I'd super appreciate that. But he actually knows a guy personally who actually also has a VERUM with a channel imbalance in it. So this seems to be a pretty big issue, and I just can't recommend this. And I have to say not to buy it. Now, to be honest with you, I'm also somewhat conflicted here. And the reason why is because on one hand, the guy who makes these is just a guy, right? And you know, it's one guy fighting in a big company world, just like I am. And I really, really sympathize with that. And I really, really do not want to be too harsh or overly critical, like, for example, I would be with Hyphen or Odyssey or Sennheiser. You know, if a big company came out with a product with massive issues like this, I would perhaps state the same thing, but in a harsher, less forgiving manner. But with this guy, it's like I really sympathize on what he's trying to do. Like, I genuinely do. That's one side. The flip side of that is that, you know, if you start a Kickstarter for something, if you're charging $300+ for a product, you really have to deliver a $300 product. If you're competing in the market, you have to compete in the market, and fair is fair. And it sucks for me because morally, like, I really want to be really, really friendly about this. But on the other side, if I wasn't really clear about the fact that I do not recommend this at all. If I wasn't clear about that and a viewer went and purchased it under my recommendation, because I am going to say good things about it in a sec, but if they went and purchased it under my recommendation and they got a product that was broken off of an issue that I know is prevalent, I'd feel really, really bad for that viewer. And you know, that just doesn't sit right with me. That being said, let's go ahead and skip to the good things about this headphone. In the $300 price tag for a planar, this is kind of a headphone that I would consider to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none, which is actually a good thing. There's a lot of headphones in the $300 category that have really specifically good attributes. Like, for example, the M1060C. If you make it open, it's an incredible bassy headphone, but that's what it does. It doesn't sound stage wide, doesn't have the best treble in the world. It just does bass really, really well. If you look at the Sundara, for example, the Sundara does speed and detail and clarity really, really well, and everything's crystalline about it, but it doesn't have a lot of bass. So it's not, it's not a master of everything. It's just a master of certain attributes of a headphone. For me, the VERUM just about does everything really well. Its sound stage is pretty well. The treble is fairly nice. The bass response is fairly nice. The fit is fairly good. The build is, it's kind of questionable for $300. It definitely doesn't feel like a mass-produced headphone. But I feel like part of the audience who is buying it is not really looking for that mass-produced feel. And there are some other really smart parts of this headphone, like the pads are actually magnetic and they just kind of pop on there and pop off. It's real easy. I do like the forward angled connectors, although the choice of a 2.5 over a 3.5, I feel like 3.5 is a little bit more sturdy and isn't going to get, yanked out and broken as easy, but perhaps there's a reason why he chose that. Maybe didn't have enough room or something like that. The headband, while not easily adjustable, once it is adjusted, it is fairly comfortable. Although it does look, admittedly, a little bit dorky. It looks like a crown almost. But overall, like I don't have a whole lot of complaints about the sound. I don't have overzealous recommendations, but I do think that the $300 price tag, assuming that it works properly, is a good price range for it. That being said, my normal review was a lot more detailed, but I don't really feel like doing that whole thing after really trying to hone down the point that I cannot recommend this product. I just can't. And there's too many cases of it being broken and broken in the same way. And I don't know if this is exactly true. It's just hearsay. But the person who just got these, they actually received these, I think a week ago. So they're fresh off the boat. They weren't working right away, or they had the imbalance right away. And from what he's been told and what he told me, you have to pay for shipping back, and it's like $35. So you have to pay for $35 to pay for a headphone that should have arrived in good condition in the first place. And there's no damage or anything to either of these headphones. And if you look at the drivers, there doesn't seem to be anything visually wrong that would cause such an imbalance on either unit. So I'm not really quite sure what to think. So VERUM, if you're watching, what I would like to do, instead of shipping these back to their owners and then having them ship them to you to get repaired, my email contact is down below. Just hit me up if you want me to send them to you directly and I can forward their perspective information along. So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up, guys. I'll be completely honest here. I'm not really enjoying making this video, so there's not really gonna be a whole lot of fancy editing or anything because, I said what I have to say. I just wanna get it out and have it be done with. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on Monday, and maybe I'll live stream this weekend. I don't know. All right.